Alright, next up we have got Star Trotters. Welcome to Star Trotters. You have stolen an artifact from the Galactic Dominion and they want it back. Luckily, this artifact magically upgrades your ship every 10 seconds. Unluckily, this artifact is manual and you have to time it well to get an upgrade. Ooh. How long will you survive? Let's try it out. I'm interested in the idea of having to mentally time out 10 seconds. I did something similar in my game. And I think it's a skill that isn't tested very often, but can be something that feels very satisfying when you get it right. So let's see how you do it. I like this menu music. Okay, start. You are a scavenger who is caught stealing from the Galactic Dominion. You stole an artifact that magically gives your ship upgrades, but only if you press it at the right time. But your clock is broken, you have to guess when to press the button. Get as close to 10 seconds as you can for better upgrades. Whilst in the move, space to shoot, eat, upgrade ship. No upgrade, okay. So, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, E. Rate of fire ++. Okay. So I'm not guessing the time because there's a timer down in the corner. I'm imagining that goes away after a while. It'd be interesting to have to like completely time it on my own. Like maybe after like 7 seconds it disappears or something like that. But as of now, I just like have to keep glancing down in the corner. And then clicking it when it's about 10. When they go down a column, that's kind of jarring, like when they just like teleport down. Another thing is that I wasn't watching the timer. My bullets are coming out of my left and right guns, not out of the middle of my ship. So it's difficult to line up where I want to shoot. So either, I would prefer having either one gun in the middle of my ship, or make it so that they fire at an angle towards where I'm aiming or something like that, because as it is now, it's difficult to try to hit what I'm aiming at, right? Okay. Let's try again. Can I hold down the button? Oh, fantastic. I can hold down the button. I appreciate being able to hold down the button, because not everyone does that. So my upgrade, I assume, is random based on, like, you know, there's a couple options. You can get, like, damage, rate of fire, etc. And then, like, the amount that it goes up is based on how close I am to 10, which is pretty cool. I'm happy with that. Although I think it would be interesting to have the timer closer to the middle of the screen and then have it, like, disappear when it gets close to 10, so you kind of have to time it out yourself. But that might be kind of difficult to do while also firing at the people, right? It's weird that they don't go all the way across the screen and then go down. They're like, sometimes they just like go down a column when they're still in the middle of the screen. So it's hard to tell when they're going to move down. Which is kind of frustrating. I wish the different enemy types had different like attack patterns or something. As it is now, it seems like all of them just fire straight down. I think I did that one early. I think it would be more interesting if they had different ways of attacking or something. It might be that they have different amounts of health, but I'm not sure on that because my damage keeps changing with all these upgrades, and I'm not sure if they're going down easier because I got damage upgrades or if because they are weaker in general. The movement speed can actually be, like, you don't want your movement speed to go up all the time because it makes it harder to dodge between bullets. So if something's not an upgrade, don't treat it like an upgrade, in my opinion. Alright, so now we're at the point where I've got a very strong, very fast laser. And I'm killing things as they spawn on screen, which is making the game very, very easy. So you've got a inverse difficulty curve going on, where as the game goes on, it actually gets easier, not harder, which is not what you want. If you're going to make you get upgrades this frequently, then you need to make the game get exponentially more difficult. Because once someone gets past your curve of difficulty with their upgrades, then it's no longer fun. And I was like 2 seconds off there, but I still got a huge rate of fire increase. I don't know why it increased that much when I was like so far off. Okay, so at this point the game is basically beaten. It doesn't seem like enemies are coming in bigger packs or anything like that. They're spawning 2 at a time. And I can easily outgun 2 at a time, no matter where they spawn. So, I'm gonna call this game beaten, and I'm gonna stop playing it. Alright. Let's rate it. Alright, overall. So, it's a top-down shooter. It takes inspiration from Space Invaders, clearly. The difference being that every 10 seconds you need to press your button to get an upgrade, which unfortunately makes the game way too easy once you get to a certain point. So, if you're going to give players upgrades over time, make sure you take into account the difficulty scaling and how those upgrades, play into it. And I don't think there was even like a point count or anything, right? There was just nothing except for your lives, so I don't even know what I was, playing for. Was I playing to get like a high score? Was I playing to fight a boss at the end? Or am I just playing until I die? And the second that you realize that there's no point in playing, then you don't want to play it anymore. So you also need to make sure you have some sort of end game, some reason for continuing to play. Sorry, my neck hurts. Alright, overall, I'm going to give it a 3.5. I think it was interesting to try to time the upgrade click, but I wish it was more up to me to count that out rather than just looking at a timer every once in a while. Fun. The fun of it comes from the multitasking. The fact that you're doing something while also trying to make sure that you don't miss your timer. The problem is that the space shooter itself wasn't very fun. All of your enemies are just shooting straight down. They kind of like jump down at random intervals, and the bullets are, it's not interesting really how you're playing it. It's been done before, right? But it is kind of fun to be doing that while also trying to time out your button press for every 10 seconds, I guess. So I'll give it a 3.5. Innovation. You're innovating on the top-down shooter by having this upgrade mechanic. Unfortunately, you don't make the most of it because it makes the game too easy. Once you get the upgrades. So I guess the main innovation is that you're doing something while doing it, because that it's a brain dead game. I'm not really thinking while I'm playing the game. I'm just holding the button and lining myself up with the enemy and avoiding the bullets. So it's like I can do that without thinking. So to have something else occupy my brain while doing that, I think that's where the innovation is. I give it a 4. And theme, every 10 seconds, I think you did a good job. I think 10 seconds is a good amount of time for like the player to be aware of it constantly, but also kind of forget about it in some ways. It's like there were a couple times there I let it go like over 12 seconds or something like that. So I think it was a good amount of time for like every 10 seconds catch your player's attention and make sure that they're doing this secondary loop. I think having a 10-second timer on a secondary loop is actually a really good amount of time. So I think you did the theme very well, actually. Graphics, it doesn't look bad. It's monochrome, it's pixelated, it's just black and white. I appreciate that the stars in your background aren't the same size pixels as your characters, because I can imagine where someone does that, where it's like their pixels and the stars are the same size as their player, and it'd be really difficult to keep track of where the player is. So I think you did a good job with the space background, and the sprite work is fine. But it is very basic and not super exciting to look at. I'll give it a 3. Audio, I liked your menu music. It was really good. Good background music. The sound effects for the shooting the lasers wasn't too annoying. I get that a lot where someone has a very high-pitched sound for their laser or whatever, and since it's constantly firing, it gets super annoying, but yours wasn't bad. I'll give it a 4.5 on audio. Maybe a 4. 4.5 is fine. Mood. What mood were you going for? I want to say the mood you're going for is alertness, where it's like playing game while also keeping track of a secondary thing. I'm not sure what mood you're going for. I'm going to give it a 3. Alright. So yeah, that was Star Trotters. It's not bad. I wish it didn't get so easy near the end, and I wish there were more variety in the enemies. And also I kind of wish I had more of the timing in my head rather than just looking at a timer on the screen. Yeah, thanks for making the game.